and welcome to my YouTube channel and blog. I'm Jenny Hall. Thanks for joining me for another card making tutorial. Today I'm going to demonstrate how I use the Stylish Stems Framelit dies with Special Reason stamp set. There is a particular way that I use these dies, although I know that there are many ways that everybody can come up with to use them for their own crafting, which is fantastic. But I wanted to get specific on how I am using them. First, there is one die that actually cuts out a negative space in the cardstock. As you can see, once that die is cut, it leaves behind the impression of a flower. There is a framelit that comes after that as the second step, and it just goes around the outside edge of that flower and actually cuts the die away from the paper. So the first step is to cut the flower image out. The second step is to actually cut that die of the flower away from the paper. You can use the negative space that the flower creates and make that into a card, or you can take the extra step and actually remove those flowers from the paper and you can feature them on a card. Today, that's what I'm doing, is the two-step process. I'm going to be using a piece of thick Whisper White for my card base. It's folded and scored at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I have a panel of Rich Razzleberry, and then I'm using the designer series paper Blooms and Bliss. It coordinates with the Rich Razzleberry. The colors on this project are really pretty, and I'm hoping that it's going to kind of look like a spring, summer type of card, although the sentiment that I'm going to be using that says wishing you a beautiful day can be any time of the year. Because I've already made the die cuts, in order to save time, I'm assembling the card front now with snail adhesive. There are a couple of different ways that the die cuts could be adhered to the card front. I'm choosing to use the fine tip glue pen just because it's going to take a nice strong adhesive, but I don't want there to be a lot of extra glue around. And if you follow my channel, then you know that I can get a little crazy with the glue sometimes. I am going to use that dark colored large floral die cut on the bottom left hand corner. So with the white die cuts, I am placing them more of in the background in order to create the illusion of depth. There is not really a special amount that I cut out. I wasn't sure how many I would need for this project, so I just about used all of them except for one leaf. On some of the die cuts, I did not even adhere them completely to the card, which will allow them to be folded up and kind of come away from the card a little bit. That's something extra that I can do with the die cuts that is above and beyond what I could do with the negative space. So there are definitely more than one way to use this set of dies. And the rest of the stuff that's in the stamp set and the dies is fantastic. So I think you guys should be looking out for more projects using this bundle. Here is a bit of white baker's twine. I wanted to create something that would actually break up all the floral images. With the designer series paper holding floral images and the die cuts being florals, I wanted there to be just a little something that would be away from the rest. And so I created this bow. The bow would also look nice if it were offset more to the left, or you could feature it offset to the right. The point is, you should put it in the place that you think is going to look best and make it your own creation. I put a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of the twine. That way it would hold it in place and the bow would not slide around. That's one way that you can secure some of the things. That way whenever a project or a card is sent in the mail, it might shift a little bit. So I try just some tiny little things to make sure that the card is received in the best condition that I can. For the sentiment, I'm using a scrap of the Rich Razzleberry paper, and I want to use there's one particular sentiment in this special reason stamp set. It says, wishing you a beautiful day. That is a fantastic sentiment. You can make it for any kind of occasion at all. However, there are other things that I was really I like the one that says, I'm lucky to have a good friend like you. I almost used that one. So there are lots of opportunities with a stamp set to make a different kind of card. This little strip of paper, you guys, again, if you follow my channel, you know that I am not a straight stamper. And I guess, what would you call that? Directionally challenged. I am not happy with the where I got the words on the stamp set. So I got in a little bit closer, and that was enough to be able to get me to stamp straight. However, you'll notice that the paper is a little bit larger now. Off camera, I actually used a different one because I wanted more of a contrast between what the background paper was and where my sentiment was. I felt like if I used a really thin strip of the sentiment, then it would kind of get lost in the midst of all these florals. So sometimes just changing the size of the paper that you're writing your sentiment on is enough to be able to visually break up the design, and that will allow the eye to kind of rest somewhere. On a really busy card such as this that has a busy forefront, it has a busy background, then my eyeball just needs to be able to rest somewhere, and let my brain settle down for a minute. After the project is put together, I will add some sparkly sequins from the metallic sequins assortment. There are some really pretty white sequins and some gold and silver sequins in that bunch, and I try to use them on as many projects as I can because they're just really so pretty. Thank you all for watching another card video. I invite you over to my blog at jennystampsup.com, and there you will find daily card making inspiration. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you next time.
Hi, my name is Trip. Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.